So nice to finally meet you, Spider-Man.
You're Nick Fury.
Put some clothes on. Let's go for a ride.
Is he gonna be okay like that?
Might want to turn him over so he doesn't swallow his tongue.
I think Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation.
Awesome! You got gifts, Parker, but you have a job to do. Are you going to step up or not?
You're all alone. Your friends are in trouble. What are you going to do about it?
You don't want any part of this.
Who is that guy?
He's like Iron Man and Thor rolled into one.
He's no Spider-Man.
What is it with you and Spider-Man?
What, he looks out for the neighborhood, has a dope suit, and I really respect him. Sup, dickwad?
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. They finally released the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, so we gotta break it down. There were a couple big Easter eggs. We finally actually got some real Uncle Ben in a Spider-Man movie, even though they kind of referenced him during his speech in Captain America Civil War. So we've had Uncle Ben before, but we've never actually seen any real Uncle Ben stuff happening on screen. We'll do a new round of that IMAX ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your favorite moment from the trailer on the video. First big thing is Spider-Man addressing a big crowd of people in the Stark tech suit. We don't know when this is happening during the movie, but it seems like it's relatively early after the events of everybody coming back in Avengers 4. Amy Pascal herself said that Spider-Man Far From Home picks up minutes after the end of the events of Avengers Endgame. So this might not necessarily be that scene. This might be something after like a brief time jump or something like that. She didn't say anything about not having time jumps, so we don't know exactly how long this moment is after the end of Avengers 4. We just know that the beginning of the movie picks up a little bit after that. But there's nothing in the trailer to let you know who's still alive and who's dead. Like we see no Iron Man, Tony Stark, even though we see a whole lot of Happy, who seems totally normal and is totally flirting with Aunt May, just like Iron Man was during Captain America Civil War. And he gets the same reaction from Spider-Man like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? This is not cool. The Easter egg on the charity check that Happy's holding, that giant check, Synchrony Bank, is that Synchrony Bank in real life released a MasterCard themed for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like there's an actual MasterCard that you can buy with all the Marvel characters on it. But the big thing here is that Aunt May totally knows that he's Spider-Man, so he's still in the old Stark Tech suit. He hasn't got the new one yet. We do see both of the new suits later in the trailer though, but then they start the Ramones soundtrack, I Wanna Be Sedated. It's like the Ramones soundtrack that they use for the credit sequence in Spider-Man Homecoming, with him just getting ready for his trip. Mr. Delmar is back in his new shop. They're rebuilding over the Avengers Tower in New York City. We don't know what's there, but there is a shot of Nick Fury later with windows that look a little bit like this, so he might be standing inside this building. It could be S.H.I.E.L.D. that's actually buying this, but this could be a different building somewhere else in a different part of the world that he's also standing in. They're very careful to show Nick Fury just looking out the window. They don't pan around to show you what the city looks like, and the background here doesn't look totally like New York City, so this could totally be in a different part of the world. But I do think we'll finally find out who actually bought the Avengers Tower at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming. He goes to get his new passport. If you notice the date on it, it's August. August is the month of his first appearance in the comics, in Amazing Fantasy number 15. Although the actual day is just a little bit different. He says he doesn't want to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in Europe. He just wants to go on vacation with his friends, so he leaves the Stark Tech suit behind and he packs his suitcase, which if you notice is the Easter egg for Uncle Ben that I talked about. So BFP is Benjamin Franklin Parker. Uncle Ben was named after Benjamin Franklin. That's why his name is Benjamin Franklin Parker. He gets on the plane while the Ramones are singing a verse about getting on a plane, and then they start jumping around in time. So this isn't totally linear, because the first place you see them is in the Venice canals. You see Ned Leeds, you see MJ, they have like a brief funny moment with them staring at each other, like a moment of chemistry. They're kind of teasing a romance subplot between the two of them, getting a little bit stronger this time. He literally calls her out as MJ, because remember, she said at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming, my friends call me MJ. The joke was that she didn't have a whole lot of friends, but now Peter and Ned were her friends. I know everybody thinks that Hydro Man is in the movie. There's actually an Easter egg here for Amazing Spider-Man number 212, which I think is an Easter egg for Hydro Man. So this might just be them trolling if he's not actually in the movie, if this water elemental turns out to be a different character. There's a joke about them at a performance in Europe. It seems kind of like a Spider-Man 3 Tobey Maguire Easter egg, like when he was actually trying to go see MJ sing at a concert. They have another funny moment together, then Peter's talking about trying to get closer to MJ, and Ned starts joking about the first time he fell in love. It actually seems like he's with Betty Brant based on some of these trailer shots. Like you see him holding hands when they're running from this big bridge fight, then later you see Betty put her hand on Ned Leeds' shoulder. So maybe they're a couple, but then you have the funny record scratch moment where the Ramones soundtrack stops and it's Nick Fury, Peter Parker, so happy to meet you. And it's a very funny, light reference to Pulp Fiction, like he's just sitting there watching him and Peter's at his mercy as if he's going to do something dangerous. But Nick Fury obviously is trying to get his help in dealing with these elemental creatures. So this is his big call to action. Then you get a bunch of Nick Fury voiceover during the trailer talking about him stepping up his game. Because remember, during Infinity War, he was bragging about being an Avenger. So this movie is a little bit more of his transition from being Spider-Boy, as in like a little high school kid, to becoming Spider-Man, like fully actualized Spider-Man. The interesting thing here, though, is that you see him in the canals with Nick Fury in the boat, and he's wearing the original Stark tech suit, so he hasn't got the new one yet. Then they cut to a different shot of Spider-Man using his web wings in the brand new red-black upgraded Stark tech suit to fly into battle or glide into battle against one of those large fire elementals. Now, Nick Fury doesn't call them out by name or anything. You just see him drum Spider-Man into service like, we need you to step up, kid. You gotta help take some of these down. But then in a separate shot elsewhere, you see Maria Hill and Nick Fury trying to fight one of the sand-looking elementals. Now remember that, because there are elementals from the Marvel Comics history. They're Doctor Strange characters. They're like D-list characters. But I think part of the idea here is that this is a play by Mysterio involving some of his illusion technology. So I'll talk about that in a second when we get to the Mysterio part of the trailer. You get a much better look at that fire elemental, then you get the voiceover from Happy separately in the Stark Tech jet talking about him being all alone. What are you going to do if your friends need help? How are you going to handle things? This is probably part of a separate speech, like a funny moment with Happy, with him trying to scare Spider-Man a little bit, like, how are you going to handle yourself? Not going to have the other Avengers there helping you out. I'm not going to be there helping you out. There's a separate shot of a bunch of European thugs busting into a restaurant with guns. This might be unrelated to the fight against the elementals or any of the Mysterio stuff, just some thugs for him to take down when he does not have his Spider-Man suit, so he has to get really creative with the way he takes them down that doesn't totally give away that he's actually Spider-Man. Then you see Peter in Prague, Czech Republic at the carnival in a separate fight with his stealth suit on that Nick Fury gives him, so this is the other second suit that he gets. This also might be an Easter egg for the Spider-Man Mysterio carnival fight in the comics. But the thing about that is that in the comics, Mysterio on television taunts Spider-Man, trying to goad him into a fight, and Aunt May is the one that's watching it. So obviously here, it's all them watching Mysterio on the TV. So just remember that even though they're trying to tell you that the elementals are the villains of this movie, I think that Mysterio is the real villain and he's behind the elementals and he's just creating them with his special illusion suit technology. Then we get a shot of him getting ready to fight the water elemental in the Venice canals. We saw the behind the scenes that Tom Holland posted of this a little while ago because he doesn't have his Spider-Man suit, like he's getting ready to fight the water elemental and he doesn't have any of his gear. And it looks like while he's trying to figure out what he's going to do, Mysterio appears seemingly out of thin air in a puff of green smoke, just like he does in the comics, and says, "You don't want any part of this," as if it's sort of his superhero line, then blasts it with green looking energy that looks just like the green smoke that he puffed out of, as if he's channeling magic the same way that Doctor Strange would channel magic. It's just a slightly different texture and color. But obviously, Mysterio is not a real magician. He's more of a technologist like Tony Stark. So we got to dig into this in a second. But you see him fly into battle in his tech suit with full-blown comic book fishbowl. And you see like this giant symbol appear while he's flying in or trying to fight this water elemental. The other big comic book Easter egg in here is for Mysterio's first real big appearance in the comics, where he tried to go to the Daily Bugle and make himself look like a hero to take down evil Spider-Man because he'd been masquerading, making it look like Spider-Man had been committing crimes all over town. So Mysterio trying to make himself look like a hero during this is just an Easter egg for that big first comic book appearance. Then you get the sort of post-credit scene with Ned Leeds sitting in a chair with the other members of their trip, watching Mysterio fight the monster in a battle. But it's a nice reminder that Ned Leeds is the man in the chair, although they did say that he gets more to do in this movie than he did in the last one. So even though he's still the man in the chair, he gets to do a lot of action stuff. But you get the funny moment with everybody talking about Mysterio as if he's a hero and Flash Thompson defending him. This Asian actor here is a brand new character. We don't know who he's playing, but it is probably going to be a comic book character because even though they don't have their comic book personas, pretty much all of Peter's classmates are notable characters from the comics. But he has the funny moment where he says he's like Thor and Iron Man rolled into one. Then Flash Thompson defends Spider-Man. What? He has a totally dope suit and he defends the neighborhood. Hey, what's up, dickwad? As Peter walks up and gives him the big thumbs up. But for the most part, this is like a longer version of the Brazil Comic-Con trailer that they showed and then did not drop online. Like everybody was like, where's the trailer? This is pretty much what they showed off at that comic book convention. We got to talk about Avengers Endgame timeline and what's really going on or probably going on with Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio, because they've been hyping up about how he's supposed to be a hero in this movie, but the whole thing is that he is a very notable comic book villain and a member of the Sinister Six in the comics. But all that Jake Gyllenhaal has said about the character in real life is that he's the only person that really understands how to fight these elementals, which I think is a clue that the elementals are either other members of the Sinister Six that are helping him out, or just complicated illusions that he uses his special suit tech to control. Like he's one of the few people that can control them because he's literally controlling them using the technology that he has built into his suit. For the most part, his suit looks like it's based on Chitauri tech. I think there's just a continuation of the idea during Spider-Man Homecoming that you have all this alien tech that's left over on the black market and he's pieced it together that way. But I think part of the idea is Spider-Man playing a little bit of a detective, sort of putting the pieces together and unfolding what the reality is behind these elementals and the other rumored Sinister Six characters that are in the movie, because there are supposed to be other notable comic book villains. We know it seems like S.H.I.E.L.D. is a really big deal, so whatever happens during Avengers Endgame, they come back. But for those of you wondering when we're going to get more Avengers Endgame footage, that might be at the Super Bowl. They also dropped another different Spider-Man Far From Home trailer with all different footage, so I'll do a separate video for that tomorrow too. But let me know in the comments what you think about the new Spider-Man suits, the stealth suit that looks kind of like the Spider-Man Noir suit, and the very original Steve Ditko looking black and red suit. What'll happen is there's supposed to be more trailers dropping later this week. I think there's a Shazam trailer coming up, but leave all your Marvel video requests in the comments below. Click here to rewatch my Avengers Endgame trailer video, and click here for that brand new Game of Thrones Season 8 trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.